Yeah, definitely a ton of excitement. I mean, you're right. I'm always going to say I want that until that last walkthrough pregame. I'm going to keep wanting to get better. So, but no, our guys are excited. We're ready to go. Clearly glad we've got a few days here still, but I think our eyes are set on the mission ahead, and I think guys are just excited to hit somebody else for once. You kind of get to that point, late in fall camp or this week one, if you will, that it's time to go get somebody else, and our guys are ready to go.
What would a clean, good game for you be besides the win?
Yeah, I mean, protecting the football on offense, protecting the quarterback on offense, being able to establish the run enough to where we're not one-dimensional offensively. Defensively, just getting the ball down, tackling really, really well, hopefully being able to cause some turnovers and put some pressure on their quarterback. And that doesn't mean necessarily 10 sacks, but just putting pressure on him, getting him off his spot and making him move around a little bit. And then special teams, clearly making all of our kicks clean on the punt, no blocks, anything like that, and then just covering well. And again, that kind of reverts back to my just getting the ball down and tackling.
Coach, this is your first game as a head coach. You've been here, you've done 2 camps, but you got to be, I don't know when the dream began, but Saturday you're going to realize it. Can you just walk us through how that feels for you emotionally?
Yeah, man, I'm almost kind of getting emotional just talking to you about it. Yeah, been waiting for this for a long time. Knew I wanted to do this at a young age, and it's kind of funny. One of my mentors, who's our chief of staff at Texas Tech, with me the first time, Kenny Bell, he actually went into my office one day and I was putting something on a hard drive for him, and he looked at my hard drive and it said future head coach. And I was 23, 24 years old, and he kind of looked at me and he's like, all right, and I always think back to that moment because I was like the first time I think somebody else realized hey, this is what this guy wants to do. And so, I've been working for this for a long time, but just extremely grateful for the opportunity. Again, can't thank President Hasner and Brian White and, the whole community here entrusting me with this football program. And I'm excited to get our guys on the grass just because I've been here, for 9 months now, and I've seen the work that we put in, and there's nothing like seeing all your hard work kind of, come to a head here at the end, and hopefully we'll make it a great game here, game 1.
What have you kind of picked, advocating the same thing, what have you kind of picked up on Maryland so far between Scout Week and watching film? What's the general gist of them?
Yeah, they're going to have a lot of talent. I definitely think in the defensive front, it's going to be a really strength for them. As far as schematics goes, it's kind of funny. I've watched 2016 Indianapolis Colts defense. I've watched some Baltimore Ravens defense in the late 2010s. I've watched North Carolina defense. I've watched a little bit of their stuff from last year just because never really know exactly how much fingerprint made Coach Loxley have on some defensive schematics as well. And so this is kind of, honestly, in my career doing this, probably the first week where I really have no clue what they're going to run defensively, just because of Coach Montesino, their new defensive coordinator, hasn't called plays since 2016, and that was in the NFL. And the NFL schematics are just so much different, especially back then. You're talking 9 years ago. So as far as schematics goes, we're planning for a little bit of everything, every front you can think, every coverage, every blitz package. We're preparing for everything, but they're going to be talented. They got some really good transfers in from some other schools that we think can play, especially in the secondary. And then, like I said, I'm going to put a lot on our offensive line to protect 10 back there and start at the offensitive line.
NFL ties on the defensive, but also the offensive. What does Pep Hamilton kind of bring to the table, in your opinion?
Yeah, a very multiple run package. I think that's gonna be something different that you probably haven't seen from Maryland the last couple of years. And again, Coach Loxley's gonna have his fingerprint on it, in a heavy manner. Because he's kind of more of your pass game specialist, if you will. Not that he couldn't run the ball in the past, but Pep Hamilton's an NFL, power football kind of type of guy. And so I think we're going to see some tall personnel. I think we're going to see some under center. I think we're going to see some heavy run package with some deep play action pass from that regard. But then I do think you're going to see some split, air raid concepts, if you will, and some, could be 10, probably your unattached 11 sets probably. So again, a very, very multiple scheme on the other side of the ball as well.
Coach, obviously this offensive forte is the passing attack, but as you mentioned, establishing the run will be important. So kind of just describe the importance of establishing the run early, especially in a game like this where you kind of have to be perfect.
Yeah, it's huge. We're gonna have to execute at an extremely high level, like you said. I have no doubt that one thing they probably went back and they looked at from last year is hey, who did Texas Tech struggle with on offense? They're going to pop on that Colorado game whenever they were giving us a 5-man box, almost a 4-man box, and we couldn't run the football. And so, I think we could see a little bit of that. But we're going to have, I feel like, that's the kind of the crazy part that you always look back on your career as a coach. You find stuff that like really maybe stumped you at the time, or you couldn't have the answer, and now you feel like that you've been around the block, and I know it's only been, like I said, 8-9 months now, but you find some answers to some stuff like that. So we got a great to run the football. Bottom line, I love our three-headed monster we have at running back, and I think all three of those guys are going to have some touches, and then we're going to ride the hot hand from there.
When a group of five and a power match up, the conversation's always about the lines on both sides, defensive and offensive. How do you feel like your guys will stand the test?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on record multiple times telling you how much I really, really love our interior defensive line. I think those guys are going to be able to really hold their own. On the edge, we don't have as much experience on the edge, and so we're going to have to play really, really fundamentally sound football there, making sure we're just doing our job more than anything. And those guys maybe aren't trying to make a play that's not their play to make. And that's just, holding your gap, doing your job, and letting the guys behind them do their job. So I do feel good there. And then offensive line-wise, again, it's going to be fun to watch, because you're talking about, you have some experience over there at that right side. And, Scarley's got some experience to him, but Nonar was playing tight end here last year. So we got to plug him out there at that left tackle, but he's done a really good job, and he's a specimen, and he looks good. And, we're going to roll Vinny out there at the center. And, he's a veteran guy. Hadn't played a ton of snaps, especially at center, but he's really come in and been a heartbeat for us there. He gets the ball lined up and we want to go. So I definitely think that's, you're spot on. That's where the conversation always starts. What's the trenches going to look like? And again, it's on me as a play caller and from the offensive standpoint to take a little pressure off those guys too.
So Vinny's starting at center?
Yes.
Or over Braden?
He is.
I hate to bring this up, but there was another guy that was in the mix early, at least last year, possibly in the spring, Madden.
Yeah, Madden is actually no longer with the team. I'll leave it at that.
All right, got it. And to coattail off that, middle linebacker, Tyler, do you expect him to play Saturday?
Yes, Tyler will play Saturday.
Great, thank you.
Coach, obviously you kind of identified Caden as the guy from the very beginning. Obviously, he's being put to the test right away. Do you think he's ready for the moment?
Yeah, I do. He's a guy that loves football and really everything that goes with it. And he's doing stuff right now that a lot of young people wouldn't do. He may not be happy that I'm telling you all this, but he's not on social media right now. He's going to stay off social media all the fall of the season because he's dialed in and he doesn't want the outside noise that comes with playing quarterback at a Division I football level. He's living up there. He loves every second of it. He's in my office asking me questions. What do I think of this? What do I think of that? He's extremely coachable. And the difference between him and a lot of these guys is he's played a lot of football. And he's been in some big games. He played in a conference championship game last year. And he's a coach's kid. And I say that all the time, but I'm biased, I guess, but us coaches' kids, we see the game a little bit different, and he's been through the ups and downs of what a football season looks like with his dad being a coach, and he's built different, and I know he's ready for this moment.
And obviously, a lot of people have asked about, his relationship with Easton Messer. Obviously, they have a lot of chemistry. Do you kind of feel like that maybe gives you an advantage in the offense?
Yeah, I think that there is that chemistry, there's that continuity there. He feels extremely comfortable with Easton. Which at times, and I've had this conversation openly with him, like, hey man, you can't force the ball to your guy here. They're double teaming him, and that's going to happen this year too. Let's not be naive to the fact that guys aren't going to know that they are best friends, they have chemistry, they have that continuity. Let's go double team number 8. Let's see what he wants to do with the football. And so, but the beauty is like, man, he's gotten so much chemistry going with a couple other guys. I'm not going to say who that is right now. Hopefully we'll see all that come to fruition on Saturday here, but he's started to really understand, kind of exactly what I want. Don't force the ball here. Let's hand the ball off here. Some of those things, and he had some continuity, some familiarity in this offense, but I coach it completely different than anybody else does, and so there's still some of that learning curve for him as well, and he's done a really good job of coming in and handling that.
When we talked to Therese just a little bit ago, how has he kind of been able to rise up the depth chart? He came in, so I'm assuming he'll play a little bit. How has he been able to do that? Yeah,
he's got leadership, he's physical, he loves football, and he's just been kind of one of those guys from day one. He flies around. He doesn't like really take plays off, if that makes sense. He's a guy that just has extreme effort all the time. Again, he's played some football and he's played at a pretty high level, and so to be honest with you, he just kind of came in and I mean, he ran with it. You know, every opportunity that he had, repping with the threes from day one to starting, hey, now you bit with the twos, now you're kind of running with the ones. He just started rolling and he just never let that go.
Good, Coach, last one for me, and it may be hard because picking between kids, but can you pinpoint somebody who's made a huge jump between either when they got here or when you first started to now? And it doesn't have to be a starter, just anybody who's really jumped out.
Yeah, Mauricio Hines, young offensive tackle for us. He's done a really, really good job. I think he's got an extremely bright future here. I actually was just kind of bragging on him to some other people the last couple of days. So really excited with him. You know, he's just going to be a redshirt freshman. And so when you can see a big jump at the offensive line position in particular as a redshirt freshman and to be in the 2 deep, you've done something right. And he's a young man that puts his head down, he goes to work, and he does things the right way.
Anyone else?
Coach, just one more quick one. Linebackers, backups, Charquez and Robert Lee. Coach Dewhurst had mentioned both of them, I believe, twice. I just wanted to kind of get your take on them, and do you expect either of them to potentially see action on Saturday?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, both those guys have done a really good job. You know, they're physical backers. Another guy you may see out there be Kamari Johnson. We go by KJ. You know, clearly you're gonna have Leon Hart out there with Stolsky, and then Zaire Horton as well. So we'll kind of get the feel of the game, see what's the snap count, how many snaps we playing, who do we need to rotate in. But yeah, all kind of 4 to 5 of those guys I just mentioned will be some guys that you may see play.